Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Horse Geeks podcast, where we look at horses and riding from the inside out. I'm Kirsten Nelsen, professional horse trainer, and with me is my friend and co-host, Deb Romero, certified Alexander Technique instructor. So today's topic just went all over the map because we
Yeah,
were
it
trying.
did.
I don't even know what to call it. We'll just say it's a Horse Geeks update because
Yeah, I like that.
we've been struggling, as you may have noticed. I think, are now a week behind in our podcast. I'm not sure.
Mm,
I think we were a week ahead and now we're a week behind. I got sick, which I was coughing all the time, sounded terrible, couldn't record anything, and also realized I've been working on all this written material for what I do with
right.
horse training, and it's been marching along little bits at a time. And I love doing the podcast. But suddenly that written work is kind of flowing. And
Mm.
getting a little stressed between doing the podcast, doing everything else I need to do, and focusing on this written material. So, discussing it, we decided um, that we're okay doing the podcast when we can.
Yeah,
I don't know what that means.
no rules.
What does that mean?
What does that
I
mean?
know. I think it says on the artwork weekly podcast or weekly episodes, which we will try to get back to
Right.
um, as soon as we can. But I'm also looking at switching a lot of like digital hosting online for different things I do. And oh my God, that technical part of it takes me a little while to wade through. And we're looking at shifting our podcast host from one platform to a completely different platform. And I just want
Right.
to kind of not be trying to put out podcasts in the middle of doing that. Hopefully, it's a non-event and it takes like an hour. But you think some of those things can take me days.
Oh, I
Um,
agree. It takes me hours just to figure out how to get help.
yeah, yeah. So we're looking at shifting the Horse Geeks podcast over to Substack, which will host the podcast and give us the ability to kind of blog on the same thing. So we can set up a Horse Geeks um, Substack account. And Deb, if you want to contribute to the written
Oh,
stuff,
cool. That'd be
but
fun.
there's all kinds of things we can do. It kind of opens it up and it hosts the podcast. So
Okay.
that's the plan. And when I started thinking about doing that and keeping up with weekly recordings for this podcast, and plus not feeling good and being whiny, it was like,
I won't mention your text to me about that.
whiny, I'm whiny. I don't
Whining.
feel good. I can't
Where?
do it. I don't have the
I
time.
was
Right.
like, okay.
Yeah.
Talk Monday.
No, and even our scheduling right now hasn't been as easy between your
No, it
schedule and
hasn't.
my
It's
schedule.
the universe is talking to us.
I know the gods have spoken.
They
And so,
have.
so what does this mean for this podcast? What this means, you guys, is Deb will record the podcast as frequently as we can, but we will not be the normal once a week.
Right.
Maybe for a couple of months. I'm not sure how
Yeah,
long.
we'll check back in the fall or something.
Well, and we're definitely committed. This is episode, or I don't know if we're going to count this as an episode, but it's episode 193. And we better talk about something else so it's an actual podcast. But the big announcement was we will, of course, follow through to at least 200 episodes. And if you guys enjoy the podcast, kind of let us know because part of the problem is on the YouTube, the podcasts don't get a whole ton of views.
Ah,
They're one of the least viewed videos on my YouTube channel. The numbers for the podcast platforms are pretty good, but by comparison to everybody else, they're kind of minimal. So if you guys are hardcore and you love it, let us know, and we will keep doing this podcast. If you share it with friends or you think it's a good way to think differently about horse training and
The horse
balance
world.
and the horse world, we want to keep doing it. Um, but we're going to have to just slow down between episode 192 today
Mm-hmm.
and at least get to episode 200 before we make any decision about continuing on after that. I know I'd love to, and you'd love to, and it's not about the money, but sometimes the
No.
time factor
Mm-hmm.
gets in the way.
Right.
So between this episode and 200, sorry guys, but the release of the podcast might be a little random for a
Right.
while.
Just keep checking.
Just keep checking. We'll do one a month. I think we could pull that off to do
I
at
think
least
I could
one
pull off
per
one a
month.
month.
Yeah.
That's probably realistic, but I don't want to set a date. I want it because our content has been always so full of quality and we really put our heart into it. That is more important to me than once a week at a
Yeah.
certain
I
time.
think to
I
be,
have to be more inspired and get more ideas and fill up the
yeah,
tank again.
yes. And find things instead of trying to seek these topics, really looking
Right.
for something that comes across our path that we really want to talk about and discuss and feel inspired by.
Right.
Yeah, and I think when time and energy start to kind of feel like there's not quite enough there to put our hearts into this podcast, I like being authentic. Like I like
I think
just being
that's,
ourselves, and I
mhm.
don't want to feel like I'm under pressure where that gets a little bit lost.
I agree completely.
Yeah. And I finally got really excited about the written materials I'm doing on horse training. And I go, that's really where my heart is right now, is to try to finish up some of these written projects, keep up with the training videos I do with horses that I post on YouTube, so people can really see the process of the work I do. And then I'm not sure where to go from there. Like I'm kind of feeling out
Hmm.
different platforms for courses and videos and things like that, but it takes time and it takes some energy to wade through all of the potential platforms and technology you could use. And I have to figure out, like you do, how does it work for me?
How does it work? Yeah.
Hmm.
Is it working for me right now? And I think it's, your sickness was a divine intervention.
Yeah, because I had like a dry cough, a little bit of congestion, but it knocked me out. I had zero energy.
Yeah, that's what you kept texting me, and I was like,
Zero.
"Oh, great." And it's hot, I don't know if people know our lifestyle, but when few hammers drop, when you lose barn help and you get sick,
Yeah.
that's no bueno.
And you still got to do it.
And you still
Yeah.
got to do it.
Yeah.
And so just in fact, this morning I'm going out of town to teach for a couple days and, taking an hour to redo all of my feed charts
Right.
and barn instructions. And I'm like, this is a big deal. This is taking a big chunk of time
Yeah. Yes. To be
to do that.
organized. Yes. No, and I've had temporary barn help, but it's a new person.
So you have to
And
be out there. Yeah.
yeah, so I'm training 5 horses and taking care of 5 horses kind of by myself right now and managing the property, but still going out and doing clinics and lessons and trying to work on these other like online venues that I do business through, as well as create this written material that's going to be the foundation of online
I'm so
courses.
excited about that.
I am too.
So excited about that.
And so I'm like, okay, at a certain point, something's got to give.
Something's got to, and you've chosen what you want your priority to be, and I think that's
For now,
fantastic.
for
For
now.
now.
And I go the Horse Geeks podcast I just have to take a little step back. Like I said, we'll keep it going along once a month for sure, and we'll get up to episode 200 before we make any further decisions.
Right.
And I'd really like to keep it going if it fits in and if it's something people want and we have happy listeners, then
Well, the great thing is that you've got tons of information on your YouTube channel.
I do. It's really,
Tons of information. People
mhm.
can go there and find lots of information.
Yeah, and your website and my website, I put in the description box or in the show notes of
Hmm.
every Horse Geeks podcast episode. So you guys can easily look us up. If if we don't end up continuing the podcast past episode 200, then there are other ways if you're interested to
To get in
find
touch
me
with us.
or
Yeah.
to find Deb.
We both do, online stuff and Zoom and
Yeah, I do a
all that.
lot of work with people online.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you don't have to have Wi-Fi in the arena. It's like
No,
you
we've,
can just
you
take a
know,
video.
I have I have learned so much more when we can sit down and I just do a short video. It might only be 5 or 10 minutes, but when we sit down and watch that video together and
Yeah.
analyze it, I learn so much.
Yeah, I love those lessons.
Yeah, me too.
And I will have people sometimes send me a 45 to 1 hour video. I'm like, that's way too much to do remote work with. And people really
Right.
love the Pivo Live thing where you can have an instructor watch you ride live. And I have a Pivo, but I think there's almost more benefit when the rider isn't on the horse, but can look at the ride in
I
hindsight.
totally agree with you. I mean, just watching my new horse Milo's progress from long lining, and we took long lining sessions and marked it, with a red point line of change. And that was huge because when you see the horse every day, you don't necessarily see the changes.
Oh, you mean you did a saddle tracing?
No, when
Or,
we looked at his videos of long lining,
oh, right.
and you took a whatever that is,
It's called
uh,
annotation tools. Yes, so
whatever.
I can draw. Like that was the exciting part.
That was so cool.
Yeah, is when people send a video clip and we sit down and review it on a Zoom meeting together. I just share the screen, play the video clip, but because we can go forward and back and I can
Yes,
pause it,
it's awesome.
and drawing lines on the video has just been a bonus because it helps people see what I'm
Yeah.
talking about. Yeah.
I learn a
Yeah.
lot more from that than in, not that I don't learn in real life, but there's so many things going on in real life. It's nice to be able to pause and remove yourself from the situation and just analyze
Right.
movement.
And to see what you're doing, think about what it felt like at the time. You don't lose that, but also to then see what it looks like as an observer of yourself
Yes.
and what the horse looks like underneath you related to what you were feeling at the time. Like that's very valuable because you're getting multiple perspectives on the same ride.
Yeah, it's
And
kind of like the mirrors. We've always told people to take pictures and use mirrors. It's a real eye-opening experience.
yeah. And mirrors in an arena, I never found that useful because you're flying by them so
Yeah,
fast and
you're looking back.
you got to turn your head to see what things look like. But I love video of rides because you can really look at some of the detail and talk
Mhm.
about all kinds of technical things and learn from that.
Yeah. Even a short one, like I said, or what I've done is like do a 2 or 3 minutes of warm up, 2 or 3 minutes of in the middle, and 2 or 3 minutes recording of the end.
Yeah.
So we get beginning, middle, and end instead of an hour or whatever.
Yeah. And even the training videos I post on YouTube of the horses here at my barn, I go, 30 minutes max
Right.
to just, show where we're at, talk about what we're doing, why I'm doing it, what I'm seeing, kind of narrating the training session. I go, there's a lot of stuff packed in there that,
There's tons. I refer people to your YouTube channel all the time.
yeah, and you
Why
don't
should I
have,
reinvent the wheel?
have
Just
you
'cause.
built up your YouTube channel yet?
No, not that much.
Okay,
Not as much. I mean, all my personal stuff is on there,
right.
but I have not been as dedicated as you
Oh,
putting video on.
it's a lot of work to do the
Yeah, I'm
video
not that
and
dedicated.
I don't even edit. I never even edit the podcast. I never edit the videos. I'm like, it's a big enough job to just get it
Just,
done and get it
I
up there.
agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
And so when you started teaching more online, doing Alexander technique is really like it's a hands-on deal. And I've watched you have to really, really adapt to work with people online and kind of guide them through it.
Right.
But is that something you do, like, say, in a meeting like this, where you can see the person and they can see you, or do they give you video of different things and you work like I do?
Both. I've done both.
Oh,
So,
interesting.
yeah, or the great thing is just to start and see somebody move and then evolve after that.
Yeah, and you find it's getting the same results?
Yeah, just about.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe not as fast, but what it does is it allows for the person to experiment more on their own.
Which I think sometimes integrates change a little stronger than when we're
Mhm.
guided.
Maybe.
Yeah, and even with horse training, I find the same thing. There's lots of places within the training sort of development where I want the horse to have a period of time where they're exploring and discovering. And then if they get a bit lost, I can always go back to giving guidance, more aids or more structure. But those periods where the horse just has kind of free choice to explore and make mistakes and it's no big deal, that's proved really valuable in the big picture of training. And so is that kind of what you're saying with people working remotely with
Yeah.
you?
Yeah, and I remember I think you said this many, many years ago that you have seen more progress with people like people you see once a month than the people you see every week.
That, yes, that is
Yeah, I think you
often
said
true.
that when you were up here for 1 month, saying, yeah, you guys, because I think we don't have you available, so we have to experiment.
Yeah, and kind of take the lesson and implement it over time while the horse is changing, the weather's
Hmm.
changing, the circumstances are changing.
Right,
How do I keep applying this lesson within different contexts?
right,
And yeah, I really would see people who were getting monthly help, or maybe every 2 weeks, or even if I didn't see them for 3 months, if they spent time working with their horse, sometimes they made much bigger, better changes than the people I would see weekly.
right.
Hmm.
That's interesting.
Yeah, and the same thing happened for me. I don't think I really started thinking for myself until I didn't have a trainer. Like, my
We become
mentors.
super problem solvers when we're on our own.
Yeah, and at that time we didn't have Zoom or even FaceTime, so I
Right,
had phone calls and emails, or I would see some of my mentors. Uh, three of them were in England, and so I might see them once a year or every 6 months. But it was like I had to really start thinking for myself, and that's when I started to understand a lot more.
right.
Yeah. And I'm like, I've had all these lessons. I should be able to figure this out. So I don't know any if you want to add more. I know we have maybe about 15 minutes before you have to
Hmm.
go. Um, and we had a topic planned about, it's just so funny. One of my clients is from the traditional eventing world
Oh,
and
okay.
for years rode as a competitor, had excellent trainers. Really, she did have some good trainers and coaches she worked with. But the horse that I'm helping her with had gotten to a point where she was getting scared to ride this horse, and that's when we first got together. And the horse is coming along. It's Lexi, who's on my YouTube channel. And Marianne, the owner, is working on getting her judge's certification for dressage within eventing.
Okay.
And it's so interesting because it was a big ass deal to her to shift her way of thinking about riding and training the horse from everything she learned traditionally into what I was helping her learn in order to rehab the horse she had. Because nothing she had learned was working with this horse. So
Ah,
she's
okay.
suddenly open to new information. So I step into the picture and I go, no, we're going to do it this way for this reason, see how the horse responds. But it's a big paradigm shift.
That's a good way to put it. It is.
Yeah. And it's like in your world, going from, medical massage to Alexander technique, it's a pretty big paradigm shift
Hmm.
between those two ways of working with people. And so now that she's working on her judge's certification, at least once a week, if not more, I started writing them down because Marianne will come to me with some horse euphemism, something she learned online, some always never rule, and she'll go, "What do you think about that?" And most often I go, "I don't even know what that means."
Exactly.
Like, yeah, like I wrote, let me see if I can find it.
Find some of them. Please help us understand these
Well,
terms.
and these are some of the things I kind of wanted to talk about because it made me laugh when she was asking me these. I go, this is what all riders and trainers say, but I don't think anybody really fully understands what it means. Like,
Exactly.
I think one of the judging meetings she was at, they were talking about scoring less for when a horse drops the contact, when a horse drops the rein contact. And she
What is
goes,
that?
like, I kind of know what they mean, and we can go into that. But I go, you see, people take a contact, and when the horse says, I need less pressure in my mouth and tucks behind the bit, they drop the connection, right? Or maybe
And
that's what it was called, losing the rein connection with a horse,
you hit the nail on the head, which to me at the very beginning is you're taking something. If you're taking something, you're drawing it in towards you.
which usually equates to pulling.
Yeah, which is
Yeah.
a negative rain contact in my book.
No, and I've talked about rain contact in a couple videos on YouTube because I have a very different take on it.
Yeah, me
And
too.
I had just been working on because rain contact to me is just a constant feel without resistance. And the only way you can do that with a horse whose head isn't yet stable, their head and neck isn't stable, I go, you have to constantly adjust the rein length.
Mhm.
So if I look at rain contact that way, there's no way a horse can drop the contact because I'm always
Right.
adjusting the
You're
reins.
you're it's a filter. It's not a dead set
It's not
end.
a rein length. And I think
Good
people
point.
associate rein contact means a certain rein length. And I go, it doesn't mean that at all. But if that's the way you think about it, then you could say the horse drops the connection. It wasn't really the horse dropping the connection, it was the person dropping the connection.
Oh, I don't know.
It was the
The
rider.
horse wasn't comfortable with that connection.
That
How
could
I
be,
see
but if
it.
they're not comfortable with it, like connection just means connection.
Hmm.
It doesn't mean anything else, but people think rain connection means framing the head and neck.
There you go. The
I
frame
go,
thing.
it doesn't mean framing the head and neck. It means touching.
It should be
Period.
listening. Our viewpoint is our hands are listening.
Yeah. And if you open a dictionary, there's not a dictionary on the planet that would have the definition under connection as framing a horse's head and neck. It just doesn't. It's not going to be in there.
It's all these made up things that we've made up along the way that people, I don't, it just amazes me.
Yeah. Or then she goes, something about the outside rain holds and the inside rain molds. And I went, Oh my God. Like how do people
Where
learn
did they come up with
anything?
this?
What does that mean? And well, it's not only, I mean, everybody takes a picture instantly in their mind
Yeah,
of what that means. But that
exactly.
interpretation, I go, this is the thing that bugs me in the whole horse business, is we say things like more leg, take a contact, inside leg to outside rein. Well, what's the purpose of that? Inside leg to outside rein, I go, that means you're looking for a bend through the midline. That's the purpose of inside leg to outside rein. So if I don't want a bend through my horse's midline because I now know it's biomechanically incorrect,
Incorrect.
then inside leg to outside rein has no more meaning for me,
Exactly.
right? But people think that's how you turn a horse. I go, no, that's how you bend the midline.
That's a really good point because these are, and I talk about this all the time, those are all outdated methods as far as having a healthy biomechanically sound horse or person for that matter.
But I have to tell you this funny story. I went to a horse fair or it was a horse event of some kind, and there's a clothing person there, right? So I'm walking through the horse clothing little shop, and there's two t-shirts, and one has like a silhouette of a jump rider, and underneath in sparkly sequins, it says, heels down, look to the next jump. That'll be $50.
Jeez Louise.
Because that's what all jump trainers say to every rider all the time, unceasingly, right? And then they had one for dressage with a dressage rider silhouette, and it said, inside leg to outside rein. That'll be $50. And I go, that's how prevalent it is in dressage, but
Yeah,
it's based on the idea that the horse's spine bends laterally in equal amounts throughout between each vertebra. And I go, that's not true. And if you bend the spine that much, you're going to
you're gonna have
destabilize
problems.
rotation. Yeah.
Hmm.
So why would I want the midline to bend? And so why would I use inside leg to outside rein?
Right.
Right? Why would I teach a horse a leg yield if I'm trying to get them symmetrical through the shoulders or lift the back or not disengage the pelvis? Why would I do it?
Oh,
Like all of those things,
all of
we,
those things we do.
yeah, and we don't question it. And then the last one she asked me that made me laugh, she goes, I read on Facebook this great trainer
Ex-
said, if you're riding an anxious horse, give more leg. And I go, all of these,
Holy moly.
I know, Deb, we could dive into all of these. And
What does that mean? Give it more leg. I don't
so, what's the first thing if you say give more leg? What's the first thing that makes you think of with a horse?
see. You know me, I'm all about language. So
Right.
give more leg means squeeze to go forward to me.
Yeah. I think that's 90,
That's what in my
99.
head that I was taught way back when that's what means to me.
Right. But I go, that's exactly how I think most people would interpret it.
Right.
And I had to pause and go, well, it's not wrong if I were kind of lengthening and toning my leg muscles so that the horse couldn't push left and right outward against my leg.
I agree
So
with
if
that.
I turn my legs into a more stable corridor, not pushing forward, but
Exactly. Resisting
resisting.
lateral movement back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
I go,
that's what I do now.
and that does actually have the effect of helping anxious horses calm down because I'm giving a strong direction, giving
Hmm.
that energy, that anxious energy somewhere to go. And typically my reins and legs used that way are going to just put that energy on a circular path until they start to calm down.
Yeah.
I go, or maybe maybe an S curve, maybe a zigzag, I don't know. Just
Right.
depends on where I am. But I could see that's where more leg might be helpful. But most people, when they say more leg, it means squeeze harder, get more forward energy.
And when we squeeze, when we use that language squeeze, we're usually tensing muscles,
Hmm.
not lengthening muscles.
Right. Shortening muscles.
We're shortening things up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll dig into that in
Yeah.
these upcoming
Let us know,
podcasts.
people.
But I'm going to start whipping my phone out and making a note every time Mary Ann asks me about one of these things
Send it
because
to me.
it's been
That's
constant.
hysterical.
Yeah, and it's part of me laughs and part of me is frustrated because she's in a class of a group of people studying to judge dressage.
Amazing.
And I go, some of the crap that comes out of that is, I go, no, we don't have a chance as someone trying to learn and show and get feedback about our training.
Because of the language.
Well, and one of
Yeah.
the big things, this really struck me. In order to qualify to even be a judge in dressage or eventing or jumping, you have to have competed as a rider to a certain level.
Wow.
And I go, so it's a circular firing ring because
Yeah,
I
it
go,
is.
you're, it takes a lifetime of dedication, hours, energy to become a really good competitive rider, right? But it takes the same amount of energy, time, and money and dedication to be a good vet, a good body worker, a good trainer, all of those things. I go,
Right.
so if you're only picking out of the pool of competitors, you're not accessing knowledge in your
You're
judging
not
panel.
broadening your horizons at all.
Not at all. And that's why I think competitive riding gets so dysfunctional and takes so
Good point.
long to make any positive changes. I mean,
Well,
if they
there's the
were,
money issue behind it too.
no, because if they were bringing in people to be certified as judges from the veterinary industry, from the bodyworking industry, from nutritional backgrounds, from, you know,
That's
farriers, right?
right.
Body workers, different types of trainers. I go, that would be a better panel of judges that's looking after the well-being of the horse.
I agree with you completely on that.
Yeah. And that, I think unless we change our competitive judging standards and start picking judges out of the vast pool of knowledge that lives
Right.
outside of competitive riding for the horse's well-being, we're about to get eliminated as an Olympic sport.
I wouldn't doubt it.
The last Olympics were so ugly, there's been a huge outcry for just making horseback riding a non-sport.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
powerful.
Yeah, because people are tired of seeing horses suffer.
Yes.
Like
At
the
the
general
expense.
public has a very bad view of horse training, horse competing, or all of that. There's a very bad view when you take a group of athletes at the Olympics and then you bring in horse people, we look like idiots,
Yeah.
right? And it's go, if the horse is suffering to do your sport, we're just not going to call it a sport and you're
Yeah.
out. And I think that would be heartbreaking because there's going to be a lot of horses then that don't have a purpose for people anymore, and horse ownership could go way down. I don't think that helps
Interesting.
horses at all.
Interesting.
But
Yeah.
unless we upgrade our sport to show happy, balanced, enthusiastic, cooperative horses,
Right.
right? I go, and that's entirely possible, but we have to totally change our paradigm of how we train.
Exactly.
What we've been doing traditionally for the last 50 years is not working
Exactly. I
or
agree.
more. Okay, that's my rant. And I know you got to go, so we'll wrap it
I
up.
have a client.
Yeah, yeah. So we will call this episode 192. I have no idea what to title it. Maybe Horse
New
Geeks.
beginnings. I don't know.
Yeah. Or Horse Geeks update.
Yeah,
I don't
that'll
know.
work.
Okay, that'll work.
That'll work.
But thanks everyone for
Yes.
all of you who have supported this podcast. We do not want to abandon you. We
No.
appreciate you.
We're gonna carry on just differently.
Yeah, and for right now, a little bit randomly, but
Yes.
it will be up. And like I said, please feel free to you can contact me through my website, wexfordfarm.com, through contact Deb through her website, optimalposture.com or .org,
Yes.
and um, let us know. Like there's contact forms and stuff on both websites, and you can let us know if you're a fan of the podcast, if you have questions, if you have ideas for the podcast, anything and all, is most welcome. And of course, on YouTube in the comments.
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
So thanks everybody for joining us, and we
Yes.
look forward to seeing you next time.
Bye.
Bye.